In a small village, a strong youth named Noor was famous for always aiding others. Returning from work one day, he heard a woman screaming nearby. He investigated and found a massive minotaur beast there. 15 years prior, Noor nursed his ill mother while managing all their household chores alone. When she eventually died, Noor was left solitary. She wanted his freedom. He maintained his routine, learning total self-reliance daily. Noor discovered an old guide his father once read to him. Recalling his mother's wish, he vowed to become a great adventurer. He visited his parents' graves to announce his departure. Braving forest hardships, he eventually arrived at the Grand Northwest Mud Kingdom's entrance. Inside the gates, Noor marveled at the crowds, acting as if he had never seen people. He wandered until finding the Adventurer's Guild. However, he was rejected for being underage. Learning he was an orphan, the supervisor advised him to join the Royal Training School to acquire skills like magic or sword fighting. Thrilled, Noor enrolled, choosing the path of a swordsman. He practiced with wood until a classmate's fire magic display left him completely stunned. Months passed, yet Noor could cast nothing. His instructor Sig eventually gave up, stating that Noor had only mastered dodging attacks. Sig suggested a new path, so a frustrated Noor joined a warrior training school instead. Instructor Dandorg rejected him, claiming his weak physique was dangerous. He tried hunter school, but Mayan rejected him for lacking proper weapon sense. He even failed at becoming a spy. Noor sought skills, but every school rejected him for lacking both magic and physical talent. He was branded a loser. Back at the guild, the master was shocked Noor gained 0 skills after months. He refused to register, nor as adventurer. Noor went home sad but determined. He trained alone with a wooden sword, practicing his only skill, parrying. A year later, he parried 10 swords. After 3 years, he parried hundreds but gained nothing else. He kept going. 10 years later, Noor blocked thousands of strikes, yet still lacked any new abilities. He returned to try again. The new guild receptionist was baffled by his seemingly useless stats. As she hesitated, the old supervisor appeared, recognizing Noor after 15 long years. Hearing Noor's story, the boss granted him F-rank status, restricted to simple tasks inside the city limits. Noor happily accepted the F-rank license, overjoyed to finally call himself an adventurer. He performed small city tasks proudly, continuing his training whenever he had free time. One day, he found a minotaur holding a hostage on the mountain. The monster slaughtered the others. Alone, Noor threw rocks to distract it, employing hit-and-run tactics to protect the terrified hostage from the beast. When it charged, he parried until his sword cracked. The beast targeted the girl, but Noor rushed to block the axe. His sword shattered, yet he fought until the monster fell. Freed, the girl thanked him for saving her. Mourning the fallen, Noor claimed he was nobody important and left quietly, realizing he still had much to learn. Lindbergh knelt by the bodies until her guard, Inez, arrived, apologizing profusely for not accompanying the princess from the very start. Lindbergh dismissed the apology, citing the royal trial. Guard Dalkin then urged them to return to the castle to meet Lord Rain. Rain was waiting. Later, Rain pondered the monster's presence deep in the cave, suspecting a hidden enemy had orchestrated the dangerous incident. Dalkin reported finding a ring on a merchant. Mage expert Aukin confirmed it contained a pure magic stone originating from the hostile magic empire. Rain realized the empire sought war to loot their riches, specifically the ancient ruins within the famous Cave of the Lost. He couldn't believe they lost track of his sister's savior. After Noor defeated the monster, the guild master was shocked to see him alive the next day. The incident was famous, but the master worried, erroneously thinking Noor had vanished in fear the moment the beast appeared. Noor explained he fled because suspicious people were following him. He went home tired. Realizing the master didn't know he killed the monster, Noor listened as the master claimed he stood no chance. Even though he was once an A-rank adventurer, Noor feigned ignorance while the boss described a mystery man defeating the beast. The boss suggested he find a proper job instead of struggling as an adventurer. He claimed Noor could earn 30% more by taking a decent job. Suddenly, Lynn appeared behind him, insisting she desperately needed to speak with him. Hearing her skills, he mistook her for a spy requesting a private talk. As they walked, Lynn used magic to keep their conversation private and unnoticed. In private, she thanked him for saving her life, praising him excessively for saving many people, though he felt unworthy of such credit. She offered a gift and said her father wanted to thank him. However, Noor was satisfied with just her gratitude and praise. She explained her high status required her to honor those who saved her. Frustrated by his stubborn refusal of any reward, she began crying childishly, insisting she would not leave his side until he finally agreed to accept her gratitude. Recalling his own stubborn youth when begging instructors for training, he felt sympathetic and had no choice but to agree to meet her father. Using her abilities, they traveled together to the palace. Noor was impressed by the luxury. He introduced himself, causing her to realize she had forgotten to properly introduce herself to him earlier. After stating her name, they encountered Inez. Learning Noor saved Lynn, Inez felt ashamed and guided them to where Rain was waiting. Noor noticed Inez treating him very cautiously. They met Gilbert, who surprised Noor by pointing a spear, making him feel unsafe. Even knowing he was a guest, Gilbert smiled sarcastically, doubting Noor's character. Inez whispered, urging him to escort them for safety. Meanwhile, Rain met with King Cleese, who was furious that Emperor Derrida orchestrated the attack on his daughter, violating the peace treaty between them. Noor entered with Lynn, and Rain noticed her cloak, realizing she had snuck out. She explained she had to find her savior. Cleese approached, and Noor quickly clarified he wasn't noble, apologizing for his lack of etiquette. Cleese dismissed social status, shook his hand warmly, and expressed deep gratitude for saving his daughter's life. Noor attempted to leave, but Cleese insisted on honoring him first. The king offered land and money, but Noor politely declined. Surprised by his lack of greed, Cleese offered treasures from the kingdom's famous ancient cave. However, Noor refused any expensive gifts, stating he simply hoped to leave the palace and return to his humble home. Cleese then retrieved a sword from behind the throne, offering it to Noor for use. Noor found it incredibly heavy, realizing it was special. Believing it was worthless like himself, he agreed to take it. He accepted the gift. Cleese asked him to swing it. Everyone was amazed. He swung the heavy blade one-handed. Cleese asked him to train Lynn. Noor refused, claiming he had nothing to teach and that she should decide herself. Leaving the palace, Noor examined the sword, doubting Cleese's claim it was worthless. Noting the large blade, he decided it would be perfect for cleaning city sewers later. Inez stopped him in the courtyard, apologizing for her earlier rudeness and asking for a brief moment to speak. Explaining her duty to protect the family, she introduced herself as the Holy Shield, deputy commander of the Cleese Warrior Corps. She vowed to help him for saving Lynn. Noor felt everyone was making a huge deal out of nothing. However, she sternly warned him never to speak so casually to King Cleese again. Seeing her seriousness, he promised to correct his behavior. After she left, Gilbert appeared, surprisingly asking Noor to join him for a moment. Forced to follow Gilbert despite wanting to go home, Noor arrived at a training ground where guards sparred. It reminded him of his lonely past training days when he had no partners at the various schools. Would you like me to continue with part 2? He saw sparring with Gilbert as a golden chance for a beginner, so he chose a wooden sword, shocking everyone that he dared to face the powerful Gilbert directly in combat. As they fought, Gilbert attacked, but Noor dodged everything. Noor realized Gilbert was holding back his true strength because he seemed like a weak opponent. He paused, asking Gilbert to stop holding back now. Gilbert unleashed his full power, attacking much faster. Noor noticed Gilbert baiting him by exposing his back while dodging. Meanwhile, Gilbert grew furious that he could not land a single solid hit on the boy. Noor felt Gilbert was still joking around. Gilbert tried a mid-air feint to deceive him, yet he still failed to hit Noor with the spear. Noor asked him to attack even faster than before. Seeing Gilbert's struggle, Noor realized the knight was trying his best, and that his own years of training had made him stronger. Suddenly, Gilbert used Dragon Drive at full speed, yet was shocked he missed despite giving his absolute all to the strike. Realizing Gilbert's strength, Noor admitted defeat and left, shocking everyone. Gilbert sat down on the ground, completely dazed. He recalled his youth discovering his spear talent. He became famous, crushing opponents easily until boredom set in, forcing him to seek much stronger rivals to fight against him constantly. His teacher suggested he work as a guard. Returning to the capital, he hunted demons and defeated rookies. However, he soon realized he was surrounded by weaklings, growing extremely tired of these pointless and easy battles. Lying in the forest with his new title, Sig approached and marveled. He looked sullen despite the great honor. Gilbert said honors were pointless without excitement. Surrounded by losers, he wished there were at least a few warriors as strong and powerful as Sig nearby. Asked if training novices tired him, Sig said he did it for the kingdom. He believed winning war alone was impossible, and hoped someone would eventually emerge to surpass him. Gilbert returned to reality, pondering Nor's oddness. The boy ignored royal rewards and killed a beast alone, yet seemed totally useless and weak, which confused the experienced knight greatly as he sat there thinking. He could not touch him once. Though Nor admitted defeat, Gilbert felt humiliated and defeated for the first time. After Nor left, Gilbert saw massive ground cracks, as if a titan had fought there. He felt excitement for their next duel. Nor felt he nearly died using his meager skills to dodge the attack. Realizing he was still weak, he vowed to get stronger. The next day, he used his new sword for work. Surprised it cleaned the drainage mud perfectly and reached difficult spots with amazing ease. Satisfied the sword cleaned well, he felt frustrated that the recent accident forced him to stop working in the cave for a while. He worried about having nothing to do in the city since he was restricted to simple F-rank work. He considered starting a business, but realized the necessary equipment would be far too expensive. He decided to use the sword as a food grill. However, the magic flame he could create was unfortunately far too small. Lin arrived. Seeing her, he recalled Anise's threat and saluted her very respectfully. He marveled that she found him, since he hadn't told the guildmaster where he was actually going. He remembered she had skills to find anyone. She shocked him by asking to work as his subordinate, helping him with his daily tasks. She promised no trouble, but he refused immediately. She tried convincing him that he could rely on her despite her young age. He insisted he had nothing to teach. She offered a teacher's salary from her family, but he still refused. He would only help if she needed something done alone. Frustrated, she determined to prove her worth to him. She used ice and fire magic simultaneously, claiming it was one of her highest-level skills. She split a tree with her blade, showing off superior skills to convince him to accept her as a disciple. He refused again, thinking she was obsessed with becoming his disciple. He realized he was truly pathetic compared to her immense and obvious skill. He told her that her display proved he absolutely could not teach her anything. Yet, she kept begging to be his assistant. He decided to demonstrate his meager skills, to convince her he was scum and make her leave. He claimed defeating the monster was coincidence. Lin realized the story of the untalented boy wasn't fiction to motivate students, but was actually the real-life story of Nor himself standing there now. She was amazed a boy enrolled in 6 schools, completing 3 months of training in each despite lacking talent, never giving up once. She was impressed he lit a flame larger than Auken, the world's most skilled magician, yet Nor considered the flame small and useless, just like his other supposedly weak abilities were. Lin felt foolish showing off her skills, realizing they were nothing compared to Nor's unparalleled power. She admired his self-reliance and vowed to obtain similar strength to help rule the kingdom alongside her brother properly in the near future someday. That evening, she told him she would follow him everywhere until she became strong. She wanted him to recognize her as his disciple and teach her his mental strength. The next day, Rain wondered why his father gave that sword to Nor. The sword's history dated back to Cleese's adventurer days. He found it deep in a cave while exploring with the 6 lords long ago. It became famous as the unbreakable blade for its hardness, becoming more valuable than any other sword known. He realized Cleese depended on Nor to give up such a treasure. The sword might be a necessary secret weapon. Meanwhile, Lin ate breakfast with Nor. He was annoyed she called him master, feeling too lowly for such a title. He planned to visit the guild, hoping that seeing his menial tasks would make her realize he was simple and abandon her goal of apprenticeship. At the guild, the boss was surprised she accompanied him, but Nor ignored it. Nor requested a duo mission. The boss suggested hunting ogres since Lin was B rank, but Nor was absolutely horrified by the dangerous idea. Feeling he was using her rank, Nor asked if she agreed. She said she would do anything he asked, making him feel guilty. Nor gathered courage and accepted the tough mission. Excited, he left without knowing the mission location yet. The boss said they were going to Monster Forest. They needed to cut off creature ears to claim the reward money later. They headed to the Kingdom Gate, journeying toward Monster Forest. Arriving at the dense trees, Noor asked about the ogres. Lin explained they ate animals, fruit, and humans. They had to eliminate them before their numbers increased and caused a severe food crisis for everyone. However, they should not exterminate them completely to maintain the ecological balance. They searched for ogres but found few, confirming rumors of their decreasing numbers. Suddenly, Lin sensed a monster's presence, though it was located a little distance away from them. They walked toward it, but Lin sensed a monster vanish in front of them. Continuing, they were shocked to see an ogre being eaten. Lin used her ability to detect everything nearby. She found a giant ogre standing directly before them. Noor was shocked by its size. Having never seen one, he assumed this was the average size for an ogre. The ogre uprooted a tree one-handed, screaming very loudly like the wind. Noor gathered his courage to face it, and Lin prepared to fight alongside him. The ogre split the tree to use as a weapon and attacked. Noor blocked continuously, realizing the beast was trying to surround him with its strikes. Lin used magic to attack, but they were surprised by its moves. Unexpectedly high speed. The ogre threw trees with full strength, but Noor continued to block every single one. Lin noticed an energy stone on its forehead. She realized removing it was the only way to defeat it. Suddenly, the ogre threw several trees at them. Lin used wind magic to block, creating a storm. They saw the stone healed the ogre. Noor felt they were in trouble, as Lin's abilities could not inflict enough damage to stop the beast. He asked her to aim magic at his back. She used her power to launch him forward. Noor dodged the attacks, jumped at the ogre, and succeeded in destroying and uprooting the stone with his heavy sword. The ogre moaned in pain. Lin grabbed the stone. Noor asked her to finish it, so she burned it with fire magic quickly. Ensuring it was dead, Noor vowed to stop killing ogres and devote his time to training much more. The stone was delivered to Rain. Learning of it, he suspected the Magic Empire was responsible for the incident. Followers suspected a demon from Mithra Theocracy, amazed that Noor and Lin were able to eliminate the threat. Would you like me to continue with part 3? They marveled that the pair won alone. They wondered how the stealthy ogre remained undetected by the Legion for days, as Lin had claimed. Meanwhile, the guild master praised Noor for defeating the ogre despite his weak skills. He credited Lin's help, but insisted Noor celebrate this first hunt, marking it as a massive step forward in his career as an adventurer. The leader asked for hunting proof. They realized they forgot the right ear. Lin had burned it to ashes, making it impossible to retrieve now. Rain read reports of strange events. Connecting them to the forest incident, he concluded enemies had infiltrated. He ordered all users with search and detection skills to immediately deploy and scour the kingdom for any suspicious people. He also commanded they summon the 6 great masters immediately right now. Noor and Lin ate lunch together. Noor happily spent his first earnings. He sat pondering how long this would last. He suspected the Magic Empire caused the recent kingdom events today. He wondered how long Lin would follow him. He felt great relief when she said she was going home that day. Rain interrupted them, suddenly asking them to travel to the mountainous city early the very next morning. Noor accepted and went home to pack his belongings immediately. Rain promised a carriage, a guard, and expenses. He said Noor was the only person he could truly count on now. The next day they departed for the mountains. Noor was excited as a child. It was his first carriage ride. He watched the window, then noticed Lin looked distracted. She apologized for her brother's request, burdening him with this mission. Lin hoped for a normal trip. Inez explained she accompanied them to ensure protection from any dangers they might face there. She recalled Rain ordering her to flee with them to the Mithra Theocracy. He feared the capital faced unprecedented danger and total destruction, ordering them to leave if bad news ever arrived. Inez apologized for involving Noor. He wondered why she took such a simple trip so seriously. Noticing her fatigue, she admitted she was worried. She stated that ensuring his safety was one of her responsibilities. He wasn't worried, confident he could protect himself or escape if it became necessary. She claimed her armor meant they would never have to run away. Noor was amazed her armor was magical. He trusted her, realizing her strength rivaled even the powerful Gilbert he had fought. Admiring her talent, she remembered her childhood when she first discovered the mysterious power hidden inside her. At the orphanage, a friend tried touching her magic power and ended up cutting her finger badly. The teachers called her in to demonstrate her strange power. Auken said her rare gift could destroy countries, encouraging her to master it well. She trained under Dandorg, the armor master. He taught her to shape her power into a shield against attacks. She feared harming others eventually. She set boundaries between herself and others, ending up completely alone and isolated now. When she met Nor, she recalled Dandorg's wish to have him during difficult times when soldiers were scarce. She had become curious and even envious of this stranger before meeting him. That feeling only increased after she finally met him in person that very day. Nor noticed a road in the wheat field. He saw something moving there that was invisible from a distance. Lin used cloaking magic. A large winged dragon monster suddenly appeared right before them. Meanwhile, Rain and Klee's herd monsters appeared around the capital. They lacked soldiers to handle the threat. Rain ordered civilians evacuated. He summoned the Secret Legion and the Hunter Legion immediately. Knights, soldiers, and the Six Lords fought everywhere to defend the capital. Chaos reigned, while Rain believed his sister and the others were safe from war. Elsewhere, a mysterious boy controlled a monster, walking through the wheat field. He was shocked his barrier broke. Before he could regain control, the monster attacked. Nor rushed towards them, saving the boy. Inez realized the boy Nor saved was the one controlling the monster while they were hiding nearby. Lin recalled Rain's story about demons. These half-humans controlled monsters and nearly destroyed the Mithra theocracy in the past. Hunters had hunted them down until they believed the dangerous race was finally and totally extinct. However, their descendants were discovered still alive. Lin realized he was leading the monster to the capital but lost control. Inez was furious Nor helped him, calling him a fool and deciding she would not assist him. Nor waited for Inez to help. Suddenly, the monster breathed deadly poison. He failed to stop it and began bleeding from everywhere, becoming completely helpless as the poison took effect. Lin tried to help, but Inez stopped her. She warned another toxic wave was coming and couldn't risk Lin's safety. She decided to use the time to escape as the monster spread its deadly poisonous gas. Inez shielded Lin, insisting she must survive because the entire kingdom's existence was at stake right now. Lin tried wind magic to clear the poison. Surprisingly, it killed birds, causing them to fall from the sky. Protecting Lin, Inez felt guilty leaving Nor to die without offering him any help. As a soldier, she had to protect her master. Suddenly, a monster hoof hit her armor. The fog cleared, and she was shocked to see Nor still standing there, defying his miserable and bloody condition. She realized why Dandorg recognized his strength. The boy, Rollo, recalled his miserable prison life. He was beaten and humiliated with classmates because they were cursed descendants. They were imprisoned after a demon once used monsters to wage war and shed innocent blood there. Over time, Rollo realized he could read the thoughts of people around him. When they discovered this ability, the violence and hatred towards him increased greatly. Despite his abilities, he couldn't defend himself. One day, he was assigned to deliver monsters elsewhere quickly. The guard promised that success meant no beatings and as much food as he wanted to eat later on. If he refused the mission, prison life would get worse. Rollo was forced to accept. Unable to read thoughts due to a magical headset, he trusted the guards. He traveled with monsters until meeting Nor. Losing control, he knew he failed. Expecting death, he felt relieved he hadn't harmed anyone yet. He hoped that if he were resurrected, he might finally live a decent and peaceful life. He closed his eyes, accepting his fate as the monster turned to attack him. He was shocked Nor appeared to defend him, wondering why he offered protection. Exposed to poisonous gas, they bled. But Rollo realized his bleeding stopped thanks to Nor's healing ability right away. Nor blocked the monster's blows until he collapsed, having lost all his strength. Nor recalled his childhood. Foraging for food in the forest, he once nearly died after eating a very poisonous plant there. He checked a book and identified the plant as Dragon's Damar, which his mother warned against. Despite the poison's fatigue, he continued training and daily tasks. However, the severe bleeding returned quickly, leaving him unable to move his body at all. He recovered and felt hungry. While collecting herbs, he was suddenly surprised when a snake bit him on the rear end. Though highly poisonous, the bite didn't affect him. Surprised, he decided to cook and eat the snake, finding it delicious dinner. He returned, caught another snake, and let it bite him. The poison spread slower than before. Realizing he had gained immunity, he spent his time developing a taste for poisonous foods. He ate them constantly to build up his resistance further. Despite many dangerous experiments, he gained no skills at all. The monster attacked, but Noor regained strength and blocked every single one of them. Rollo was amazed. The monster prepared more poison. Noor felt he was betting his life on this one attack. Would you like me to continue with part 4? Before the beast could release its venom, Noor struck, forcing its mouth shut. The trapped poison exploded inside its head, finally killing it instantly. He rushed to check on Rollo. Asking why he was here, Noor was shocked to learn he had brought the beast. Rollo admitted he promised to take the monster to the city, blaming his own foolishness. Noor mistakenly thought Rollo brought it for food. He felt terrible for ruining a great feast and causing the boy's mission to fail completely, rendering all his hard efforts in vain. Rollo was stunned when Noor bowed, apologizing for spoiling the meal. Noor promised repayment later, but Rollo quickly assured him that no money was needed and that everything was actually fine. Noor asked how he transported such a fierce beast. He was confused when Rollo explained controlling monsters, thinking it was just a unique skill, excited that Rollo had it since birth. Rollo hesitated, revealing he was a demon descendant and that his people shared this power. As a simple F-rank adventurer, Noor was ignorant of demons and didn't realize they were evil. Instead, he wished he could make animals help with his fieldwork and gathering herbs. Rollo was shocked Noor held no grudge. Noor advised him to ignore insults, saying his ability was useful. Remembering his past humiliation, Rollo cried, unable to see his power's true value yet. He wept continuously, failing to realize how his unique ability could actually help people someday. Noor marveled at Rollo's self-loathing despite having such power. He believed Rollo didn't see its value yet but would be great. Patting his head, he said people would need him. Lin and Anise arrived. Lin tried to treat Noor, but he claimed immunity to the poison, and his bleeding had already stopped completely. Amazed by his strength against deadly poison, they guessed he used a skill from Master Sane, the savior. They assumed he had high-level protection. Noor asked her to treat Rollo first. Examining him, she recognized his pale skin and purple hair immediately, identifying him as a demon descendant. She was surprised Noor wanted him in the carriage. Asking who ordered the mission, Rollo said he didn't know, but had promised someone he would complete the task for them. Anise realized from his fear that he was likely an enslaved person forced into doing this dangerous task. He explained he was blindfolded during travel. Noor decided to drop him at the nearest city. Lin hesitated, knowing he was an evil race, but seeing a homeless, weak boy, she decided to trust him, asking Anise to let him ride. Anise warned that Mithra theocracy forbade demons. Entering the sacred city meant risking attack as enemies. A voice interrupted them. A blindfolded man named Zadu stood behind them. He had come to retrieve Rollo after the mission failed. They were shocked by his immense speed when he suddenly attacked. Noor stopped the attack. Though he didn't know Rollo's name, Zadu insisted on taking him back because people like that boy were worth a lot of money. Zadu attacked again, stating he needed Rollo alive for a client and would dispose of Noor personally. Zadu used speed to bypass him, but failed. Noor increased his own speed, effectively blocking the path to Rollo. Zadu targeted Noor instead. He aimed daggers at his head, but Noor blocked with such force that Zadu was thrown back. Zadu marveled at Noor's strength and his strange, small sword that broke a dagger. Noor felt he was in trouble, relying solely on intuition to dodge the rapid attacks, fearing he would eventually run out of stamina at this pace. He knew it was only a matter of time before his strength failed him completely. Anise shielded Lin, realizing they fought Zadu the Dead, an S-rank adventurer. She recalled investigating him. Even teachers avoided him due to the immense and dangerous power he possessed since childhood. Auken said he was the dragon conqueror at 13. He mastered dwarf alchemy, but Sig noted he became a wanted criminal for evil acts. His name was linked to bloodshed, yet the guild couldn't delist him. Anise realized he prioritized money over morality, accepting any mission. He once wiped out an entire country, sparing absolutely no one, not even the royalty. Zadu ran out of daggers as Noor shattered them. He marveled at the weird boy whose sword broke orichalcum and dragon fangs. He threw his cross-shaped sword upwards. It split into small blades attacking at once. Noor blocked one but let the others hit his body to protect Rollo. Anise felt they would die without her help but couldn't abandon Lin. However, overcome by emotion, she begged Lin to let her fight. She used her shield to protect them from the raining blades, attacking Zadu. He dodged easily. She focused on defense, asking Noor to handle the offense. Noor grabbed monster claws. He used physical enhancement on his arm. Timing it perfectly, he threw the claws, destroying a massive number of incoming blades. Zadu appeared close to Ines, trying to stab her. Noor intercepted instantly, blocking the attack before it reached her. Zadu was shocked. Noor blocked a close-range attack and shattered his dagger. Deciding to retreat after losing weapons, he warned them a celebration was coming to the capital. He told Rollo he was lucky to be abandoned, then tried one last strike before vanishing. Realizing he couldn't hit Noor, he disappeared into smoke. Ines and Lin pondered the celebration comment. Noor took it literally, saying it sounded fun, suggesting they head back. Rollo was horrified they were from the capital. He warned a monster strong enough to wipe out the city was sent there. Ines refused to return, but was surprised Lin knew about the secret agreement with Rain. Ines agreed to go back only if Lin stayed with her. Rollo decided to join them, hoping to share information. Lin vowed to capture Zadu and save her kingdom from disaster. Rain surveyed the damage. He realized the enemy waited to unleash a massive wave of monsters they couldn't withstand. He tried to guess the attack direction. He noticed something in the sky. Using magic to break invisibility, he was shocked to see a black dragon flying directly overhead. Approaching the capital, Noor and his companions were shocked to see the dragon hovering directly over the kingdom. Lin recognized it as the invincible dragon of disaster. Blocking the sunlight, the dragon terrified Rain. He knew it should be hibernating and couldn't understand why someone woke such a destructive beast for a minor dispute. The dragon destroyed buildings with its wings. Rain ordered forced civilian evacuation. The 6 masters were scattered. Gilbert urged Cleese to hide safely. Cleese refused, ordering warriors to protect civilians. Lin was frustrated knowing her father would sacrifice himself. She knew he would die. Noor suggested using the wind blast to reach the capital at full speed. He told her he could save her family since he owed them. Lin stopped being pessimistic, putting her trust in him. Cleese recalled peace negotiations. Derrida had demanded the cave, claiming he would use it to rule the world. Cleese refused. He realized he underestimated Derrida, not expecting a full-force attack to seize the cave. He climbed the palace tower, remembering Lin. He felt unworthy for worrying about her now. He decided to fight the dragon as an adventurer one last time, vowing to gouge out its eye. Lin prepared the spell, warning Noor the shock would be severe. Ines supported her. Lin used full power to blast them toward the capital. Meanwhile, the dragon approached Cleese, preparing to unleash its attack on him. Rain realized it was the breath that burned the continent centuries ago. Cleese knew he couldn't win, deciding to act like a king. He drew the explosive sword to damage the dragon upon his death. Seeing the light, everyone realized he intended to sacrifice his life. Suddenly, Noor appeared, blocking the thunderous attack and diverting it skyward, amazing everyone. The dragon was blinded by dust. The controller didn't realize a human blocked it. The dragon tried pushing Noor with its tail, but failed to harm him. The others arrived to find Cleese. While Noor fought the dragon, debris tripped their horses. They found several ogres blocking the path. Ines raised her shield to defend against an attack. Lin felt trouble due to their numbers, though they were small. She decided to think like Noor, using magic to attack. As ogres rushed, Rollo used his ability to freeze them. Lin and Ines then crushed them easily. The dragon was furious, a human withstood its blows effortlessly. Noor wondered if his sword was tougher than he thought, suspecting it held a secret. The dragon decided to use its trump card. It flew high, preparing to release a massive explosion from its mouth directly at him. Noor shocked everyone by blocking the beam and diverting it into the sky.